The notification arrived during lunch, and Ambassador David Webb choked on his sandwich when he read it. Humanity had been challenged to the 847th Galactic Predator trial. He read it again, hoping he had misunderstood. He had not. The message was clear. Every species seeking full diplomatic standing in the Galactic Assembly had approved their apex predator status. This was done through a ritual competition where each species presented their most fearsome predator companion. David had been Earth's representative on Station Meridian for 3 years. He knew about the predator trial. He also knew that humanity had been avoiding it, hoping the Council would forget about them. The Council had not forgotten. The trial would begin in 6 hours. He rushed to the docking bay, where other species were already unloading their entries. What he saw made his stomach drop. The Norvani delegation walked past him first. They led a creature that looked like a snake made of pure muscle, twice the length of a car. Its scales dripped with something that hissed when it touched the floor. Acid. The snake spat acid. Behind them came the Kalathi. Their entry was a pack of 6 wolf-like animals covered in gray scales instead of fur. They moved in perfect coordination, their eyes tracking every movement in the bay. Pack hunters, bred for killing. The dray van brought something worse. David could barely look at it. The creature seemed to exist partially outside normal space, flickering in and out of visibility. A telepathic ambush predator. According to the whispers around him, 47 species. 47 predators, each one more terrifying than the last. David looked down at the carrier in his hand. Inside, an orange tabby cat named Muffin was licking her paw. This was not supposed to happen. Muffin was not an official entry. She was the unofficial mascot of the diplomatic shuttle, a stray that Dr. Priya Sharma had adopted 2 years ago. Muffin had wandered into David's carrier that morning because she liked small spaces. He had been taking her to the station's veterinary office for a checkup. Now she was humanity's only option. He called Earth immediately. The connection took 45 minutes because of the distance. When he finally reached the diplomatic corps, they confirmed his worst fear. There was no time to transport another animal. Earth's fastest ship would take 3 weeks to reach Station Meridian. The trial began in less than 6 hours. David found Dr. Sharma in the science wing and explained the situation. She stared at him. Then she stared at Muffin, who was now asleep in the carrier. "You want to enter Muffin in the predator trial," she said slowly. "I don't want to. I have to. She's all we have." "David, they have creatures out there that could swallow her whole." "I know. That acid snake alone could. I know, Priya. But if we don't enter something, we lose our voting rights in the assembly for 100 years. A century of having no voice in galactic politics. Because we couldn't produce a predator." Priya looked at Muffin again. The cat had woken up and was now staring at a small flying insect that had entered the room. Her eyes were very wide and very focused. "She is a predator," Priya said quietly. "She weighs 4.5 kilograms. Predator status isn't about size. It's about behavior, biology, hunting capability. Cats are obligate carnivores. They have retractable claws, exceptional night vision, and one of the highest hunting success rates on Earth. They've driven multiple species to extinction." David watched Muffin's head move slowly, tracking the insect. "Can you prove that to the Council?" "I can try." They went to the registration hall together. The room was full of alien delegates and their terrible creatures. The smell alone was overwhelming, a mixture of predator musk and alien biology that made David's eyes water. When they approached the registration desk, the official looked at Muffin's carrier with obvious confusion. "What is this?" "Our entry. A domestic cat. Felis catus." The official scanned Muffin. His confusion deepened. "Obligate carnivore," he read from his screen. "Retractable claws. Binocular vision optimized for hunting. But the mass is only... This cannot be correct." "It's correct," Priya said. High Hunter Brenneth of the Kalathi delegation walked over. He was tall, covered in ceremonial scars, and currently looking at Muffin like she was a joke. "This is humanity's predator." His voice carried across the hall. Other delegates turned to look. Some of them laughed. David felt his face grow hot. "On my world," Brenneth continued, "we feed creatures like this to our young as training prey. More laughter. Muffin yawned, showing her small, sharp teeth. Then she curled up and went back to sleep. Council Elder Magistrate Yorin arrived to explain the rules. The trial had 5 challenges: hunting instinct, predatory patience, strike precision, kill efficiency, survival adaptability. Winners earned their species the Apex Predator accreditation and full diplomatic standing. Losers got nothing. The stakes are absolute, Yorin said, looking directly at David. Failure means your species loses voting rights for 100 standard years. Do you understand? David understood perfectly. Humanity's political future in the galaxy rested on the shoulders of a 4-kilogram orange tabby cat who was currently dreaming about birds. He looked at Muffin. Muffin's ear twitched. We understand, David said. We're ready. He was lying. He was absolutely not ready. But in 6 hours, ready or not, Muffin would face the most dangerous predators in the known galaxy. And all David could do was hope that somewhere in that small furry body was something the universe had not yet learned to fear. 17 different languages filled the registration hall, and none of them were saying anything kind about humanity. David stood in line with Muffin's carrier, trying to ignore the stares. The cat was awake now, sitting upright and watching the alien predators around her with what David could only describe as professional interest. The Norvani acid serpent was coiled in a containment field nearby. It kept testing the boundaries, spitting drops of caustic liquid that sizzled against the energy barrier. Its handler, a tall being with too many joints, looked at Muffin and made a sound that might have been laughter. The humans brought a snack for the real predators, someone said in Galactic Common. David kept his expression neutral. Priya stood beside him, reviewing her notes on feline biology. Let them laugh, she whispered. They don't know what they're looking at. Neither do I, to be honest. You've lived with cats on the station for 3 years. I've lived with Muffin. She sleeps 20 hours a day and screams at me when her food bowl is half empty. That's because she's comfortable. Watch her now. David looked. Muffin was still sitting perfectly still, but her eyes were tracking something. He followed her gaze and saw a small maintenance drone flying near the ceiling. The cat's pupils had gone wide and dark. Her body was completely motionless except for the very tip of her tail, which twitched in a slow rhythm. She's hunting, Priya said. In her mind, she's already caught it 6 different ways. Their turn at the registration desk came. The official, a 4-armed being covered in administrative badges, looked at their entry form and then at Muffin. Species designation: Felis catus. Domestic cat. Origin planet Earth. The official entered the data. Weight: 4.5 kilograms. That cannot be correct. It is. The official looked at the line of massive predators behind them. The smallest was a venomous reptile that weighed at least 200 kilograms. Primary weapons. Priya stepped forward. Retractable claws capable of piercing most organic materials. Teeth designed for delivering killing bites to the cervical spine. Also possesses exceptional low-light vision, hearing that extends into ultrasonic ranges, and sensory whiskers that can detect air pressure changes caused by movement. The official blinked several of his eyes. All of that. In this size, cats are compressed predators. Evolution made them small, but kept everything else. High Hunter Brenneth appeared beside them, his scaled wolves following in perfect formation. I must see this creature's hunting record, he announced loudly. Surely a species this small has no significant kills. Priya pulled up Earth's wildlife data on her tablet. The domestic cat is responsible for the extinction of at least 63 species on Earth. They kill between 1 and 4 billion birds per year. They hunt for pleasure, not just food. When prey is scarce, they adapt their hunting style. When prey is plentiful, they kill more than they can eat. Brenneth's confident expression flickered. Billion? That seems billion. With AB, they are considered one of the most successful invasive predators in Earth's history. But the size is irrelevant when the hunting instinct is perfect. The official finished the registration and handed David a competitor badge. Your entry is accepted. The human delegation will compete in the standard trials. They walked away from the desk. David could feel eyes following them. But the laughter had stopped. That evening, there was a gathering of all competitors in the diplomatic hall. Species mingled and showed off their predators. The Draven Shadowstalker was kept in a specialized containment unit that warped light around it. The Urvani had brought their apex hunter, a creature bred for competition for over 1,000 generations. David sat in a corner with Muffin on his lap. She was playing with a piece of string he had found in his pocket. Completely ignoring the room full of deadly aliens, a Norvani delegate approached him cautiously. "Human, I have a question." "Yes." "The creature. It plays." "She does, yes. Our serpents do not play. They hunt or they rest. But your animal plays with things that are not prey." David watched Muffin bat at the string. Cats play to practice hunting. Every game is a simulation. She's learning angles, timing, strike speed. Even now, the Norvani was quiet for a moment. So, when she plays, she is training to kill more efficiently. Basically, yes. And you allow this creature in your living spaces. She sleeps on my bed most nights. The Norvani backed away slowly, looking at Muffin with new eyes. Brenneth approached next, but his tone had changed. "Human, I have studied your records. The hunting success rate of your cats, 32% on average. Higher for experienced individuals. Our wolves achieve 26%. "I know." Brenneth looked at Muffin, who had abandoned the string and was now grooming her paw. "You truly keep billions of these creatures as companions." "We do." "Do they ever attack humans?" "Sometimes. Mostly small injuries. Cats know the difference between play and real hunting." David paused. Usually, Brenneth's wolves shifted nervously behind him. Even they seemed to sense something in the small, orange animal that their instincts recognized. "The trials begin tomorrow," Brenneth said finally. "I do not think your creature will survive the first challenge." "Maybe not, but I'm no longer certain she will fail." He walked away. His wolves followed, but one of them kept looking back at Muffin until they left the hall. David stroked Muffin's fur. She purred, a sound like a small engine. "No pressure," he told her. "You just need to outperform 47 alien death machines." Muffin yawned, showing all her teeth. David decided to take that as confidence. The arena was the size of a small moon, and it could become anything. David watched from the observation deck as the environmental simulators hummed to life. Below, 47 predators waited in separate holding areas. Muffin sat in hers, cleaning behind her ear with one paw. Magistrate Yorn's voice echoed through the station. "Challenge 1. Hunting Instinct. Prey creatures will be released into the arena. Each predator will be judged on their immediate response, tracking ability, and execution of the hunt." The arena floor transformed into a grassland dotted with rocks and small trees. Thousands of small prey creatures were released from hidden compartments. They scattered in every direction. The predators were released. What followed was chaos. The Norvani serpent lunged immediately, acid spraying. The Kalathi wolves burst forward as a coordinated unit. The Draven Shadowstalker simply vanished and reappeared with prey already in its jaws. And Muffin sat down. David's heart sank. Priya grabbed his arm. "Wait," she said. The cat was watching. Her whole body was still except for her eyes, which tracked the movement of prey across the field. She seemed to be calculating something. Then a small rodent-like creature made the mistake of moving near her. Muffin dropped into a crouch so low her belly touched the ground. She moved forward in a motion that was somehow both slow and fast, each step precise, her body flowing like water. Her pupils had expanded until her eyes were almost entirely black. The rodent froze, sensing danger but not seeing it. Muffin struck. The pounce was a perfect arc. Her paws hit the creature exactly where its spine met its skull. The kill was instant. The arena fell silent. David looked at the scoring display. Muffin's metrics were lighting up. Approach angle, optimal. Strike speed, exceptional. Kill efficiency, perfect. "What did she score?" he asked. Priya was staring at the data. "She's in the top 10. "David, she's in the top 10. The challenge continued. Muffin hunted 3 more prey creatures, each time using the same patient stalk and strike method. She never wasted energy. She never missed. B. Why the end of Challenge 1. 17 predators had been eliminated for failing to demonstrate adequate hunting instinct. Muffin was ranked 8th. Brynith's wolves had ranked 5th. He looked at the human delegation with something that was no longer amusement. Challenge 2 was announced. Predatory patience. The arena transformed again. Now it was a series of enclosed spaces with hiding spots. Prey creatures were placed in concealed locations. Predators had to wait, motionless, for prey to emerge. This was where most aggressive predators failed. Waiting was not in their nature. The Norvani serpent lasted 45 minutes before it began moving restlessly. Eliminated, a massive insectoid predator from the outer systems made it 2 hours before its legs began twitching involuntarily. Eliminated, Brynith's wolves held formation for 3 hours. Then one of them shifted position. The pack was eliminated together. David watched Brynith's face go pale. Muffin sat in her enclosure like a statue. Her eyes were fixed on a small hole in the wall where prey had been detected. She did not move. She barely seemed to breathe. 1 hour passed. 2 hours. 3 hours. Other predators fell. Some attacked the walls in frustration. Some paced until they were disqualified for excess movement. 4 hours. Muffin's tail tip twitched once. Nothing else moved. 4 hours and 17 minutes. A small creature emerged from the hole. Muffin's strike was so fast that the slow-motion replay had to be slowed down further to see it. Her paw shot out, claws deployed, and pinned the creature in a single motion that lasted less than 1/10 of a second. The judges were quiet for a long moment. Predator 23, designated Felis Catus, one of them announced. Patience duration, 4 hours, 17 minutes. Strike time, 0.08 seconds. No movement detected during waiting period except for involuntary tail response, which falls within acceptable parameters. David let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. When Challenge 2 ended, only 30 predators remained. Muffin had moved up to 5th place. That evening, delegations gathered to discuss the results. The mood had changed dramatically. Nobody was laughing at the human entry anymore. A Dravan diplomat approached David with a data pad. We have analyzed your creature's performance. The patience rating is remarkable. Cats can wait for hours when hunting. It's part of their nature. But the strike speed, our instruments barely registered it. How does such a small creature generate that much force that quickly? David shrugged. Evolution. Cats were small predators competing with larger ones. They couldn't win through strength, so they won through precision and speed. Your planet must be very dangerous. It is. Everything on Earth is trying to kill everything else. Cats found a way to thrive anyway. The Dravan looked at Muffin, who was batting at a piece of dust floating in the air. And you let these creatures into your homes. We invite them in. We feed them. We love them, even knowing what they are capable of. David smiled, especially knowing what they are capable of. The Dravan walked away, muttering something that David's translator couldn't quite catch. Priya came over with the next day's schedule. Tomorrow is Challenge 3, Strike Precision, and Challenge 4, Kill Efficiency. How do you think she'll do? Priya watched Muffin successfully capture the dust particle and then look around for another one. I think the galaxy is about to learn why humans respect these animals so much. David hoped she was right, because if the pattern continued, the universe was going to discover something that every mouse on Earth already knew. Cats were not cute. They were perfect. A scientist from a Urvani delegation threw his data pad across the room. This is impossible, he shouted. The numbers make no sense. David and Priya were in the observation lounge when it happened. The Urvani scientist, whose name was Researcher Dahlin, had been studying Muffin's performance data for hours. Now he was standing in the middle of the room, pointing at a holographic display of the cat's biology. Explain this to me, human. Explain how this creature's paw speed exceeds organisms 10 times its mass. Explain how the muscle density allows for such rapid claw deployment. Explain why the hunting success rate is higher than creatures that have been bred for killing for millennia. Priya stepped forward calmly. May I? She took control of the display and began highlighting different biological features. Cats have specialized muscles called fast-twitch fibers that allow for explosive movement. Their claws retract into sheaths when not in use, keeping them sharp at all times. Their spines are extremely flexible, allowing them to twist and adjust mid-strike. Their eyes can process movement faster than most species, and their whiskers detect changes in air pressure caused by prey movement. Dallin stared at the display. All of this evolved naturally, over millions of years. Earth is what your scientists would classify as a Category 4 death world. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, and aggressive competition for resources. Every species that survives there is optimized for either killing or not being killed. And cats. Cats are optimized for both. Challenge 3 began that afternoon. Strike precision. The arena was filled with randomly appearing targets. Small holographic markers that blinked into existence for fractions of a second. Predators had to hit them before they vanished. The larger predators struggled. Their attacks were powerful but slow. By the time they struck, the targets were gone. Muffin sat in the center of her section, watching that a target appear to her left. Her paw shot out and tagged it before David's eyes could fully register its presence. Another target. Another instant strike. The judges began comparing reaction times across species. Most predators were responding in a range of 0.2 to 0.5 seconds. Muffin's average was 0.07 seconds. That is faster than neural transmission in most species, one judge said. The creature is reacting before conscious processing should be possible. Priya nodded. Cats can process visual information directly through their motor system. They see and react simultaneously. There's almost no delay. This seems like an unfair biological advantage. There are no rules against being well-designed. Challenge 3 ended with only 18 predators remaining. Muffin was now ranked 3rd. Challenge 4 followed immediately. Kill efficiency. This was the challenge that made David uncomfortable. Simulated prey would be used, but the predators would have to demonstrate their killing techniques. The judges wanted to see how quickly and cleanly each creature could end a life. The Shadow Stalker went first. It phased through space and appeared behind its target, striking at the brain. Efficient, but the prey creature twitched for several seconds afterward. The Yervani apex hunter used its massive jaws to crush its target. Effective, but brutal and energy-intensive. Then it was Muffin's turn. She stalked the simulated prey with the patience they had seen before. When she struck, she did not go for the body or the head. She bit the neck, not randomly. Not anywhere on the neck. She bit precisely between two specific vertebrae, severing the spinal cord instantly. The prey did not twitch. It simply stopped like a machine being switched off. The arena went completely silent. Magistrate Yoren leaned forward in his seat. Replay that. Slow it down. The footage was shown again at 1/10 speed. Muffin's teeth finding the exact gap in the spine. The precision of an anatomy expert. The efficiency of a surgeon. How does it know where to bite? Yoren asked. Priya answered from the human observation deck. Cats have an instinctive knowledge of prey anatomy. They do not learn where to bite. They are born knowing. It is hard-coded into their genetics. Born knowing how to kill efficiently. Yes. Every cat. Every cat. The room was quiet again. The Dravian delegate stood up slowly. I wish to know something. You say this creature has been living alongside humans for thousands of years. That's correct. And in all that time, has humanity ever tried to make them larger? To breed them for greater killing power? David answered this one. We did not breed cats for war. We did not need to. Cats arrived in our civilizations, and we recognized what they were immediately. We did not try to improve them because they were already perfect. Then the larger versions you mentioned yesterday, the tigers and lions, those evolved naturally. They reached up to 300 kilograms. They can kill prey 10 times their size. And you keep the small ones as companions because, David smiled, because the small ones let us. Challenge 4 ended. Only 12 predators remained. Muffin was now ranked 2nd, just behind the Shadow Stalker. That evening, David received messages from 30 different species requesting information about acquiring cats for their own worlds. He forwarded them all to Earth's xenobiology department with a note suggesting they really think about the consequences first. Muffin, unaware of her growing fame, had found a cardboard box in the corner of their quarters. She was sitting in it, purring. The deadliest creature in the competition had found a box, and she was happy. David watched her and wondered what tomorrow's final challenge would bring. Dawn on Station Meridian was artificial, but it still felt like a beginning. David had not slept. He had spent the night reviewing the final challenge parameters and trying not to panic. The survival adaptability test was designed to push predators beyond their limits. The arena would cycle through extreme environmental conditions while predators continued to hunt. Only 12 competitors remained. Muffin was ranked second. The Shadow Stalker was first. Priya joined him at the observation deck as the arena began its transformation. "How's she doing?" David asked. "She ate breakfast, knocked a cup off my desk, and fell asleep in the sun. I think she's fine." I meant mentally prepared. "David, she's a cat. She's always mentally prepared. She just doesn't care about anything else." The arena below was dividing into sections. Each predator would face the same sequence of environments, but they would be isolated from each other. No direct combat was allowed in this challenge. This was purely about survival and continued hunting under pressure. Magistrate Yorn's voice echoed through the station. Challenge 5. Survival Adaptability. The arena will cycle through 8 extreme environments. Predators must continue hunting throughout all conditions. Failure to hunt in any environment results in elimination. Inability to survive any environment results in elimination. The 12 predators were released into their sections. Muffin walked into hers, sniffed the air, and sat down. The first environment was desert heat. The temperature climbed to 50 degrees. Sand replaced the floor. Bright artificial sun blazed overhead. Several predators began showing distress immediately. They panted. They sought shade. They stopped hunting. Muffin found a small shaded area, lay down, and watched for prey. When a small creature emerged from the sand, she pounced with the same efficiency as before. The heat did not seem to affect her hunting at all. Cats originated in desert environments. Priya explained to the watching delegates. They can tolerate extreme heat. They can serve water. They hunt in the hottest parts of the day because that's when prey is most vulnerable. The second environment was Arctic cold. The temperature dropped to -30. Snow covered everything. Ice formed on the walls. 0.3 more predators failed. Their biology was not designed for cold. They could not function. The Muffin's fur puffed out, nearly doubling her apparent size. She continued hunting. Her paws left prints in the snow, but her movements were still precise, still deadly. Cats can survive extreme cold as well, Priya continued. Their fur provides insulation. They adjust their metabolism. They never stop being predators regardless of temperature. Environment 3 was dense jungle. Vinehorn Ava. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. The Shadow Stalker excelled here, vanishing and reappearing through the vegetation. Muffin simply climbed. She reached the upper branches and hunted from above, dropping on prey with perfect accuracy. Environment 4 was open water. A pool filled the arena floor, 3 meters deep. This was supposed to eliminate cats. Everyone knew cats hated water. Muffin sat at the edge, staring at the water with visible disgust. But when prey appeared on a floating platform in the center, she did something unexpected. She jumped in. David gasped. The entire observation deck gasped. Muffin swam. She swam badly, with obvious displeasure, but she swam. She reached the platform, caught the prey, and swam back. She spent the next 10 minutes grooming herself with an expression of pure offense, but she had completed the challenge. Cats can swim, Priya said, though she looked surprised herself. They just prefer not to. Environment 5 was complete darkness. No light at all. Several predators became lost and confused. They bumped into walls. They could not find prey. Muffin's eyes adjusted. Her whiskers spread wide, detecting air movements. Her ears rotated independently, tracking sounds. She hunted 3 prey creatures in the darkness without any apparent difficulty. Environment 6 was high altitude. Thin air, low oxygen, more predators dropped. Their bodies could not function without adequate oxygen. Muffin slowed down, but did not stop. She moved carefully, conserved energy, and still caught her prey. By Environment 7, only 3 predators remained. Muffin, the Shadow Stalker, and the Yervani Apex Hunter. Environment 7 was a combination of heat and obstacles. The 3 predators had to navigate while hunting. The Yervani Hunter began showing signs of exhaustion. It was massive, powerful, but had been fighting the environments for hours. Its movements became sluggish. It missed a prey creature, eliminated. Environment 8 was the final test. A shifting maze that changed configuration every few minutes while predators hunted. The Shadow Stalker seemed unstoppable. It phased through walls, appeared wherever prey was located. But something was wrong. David noticed it first. The Shadow Stalker was flickering more than usual. Its phasing ability seemed to be weakening. "What's happening to it?" he asked that a Dravan scientist answered reluctantly. The phasing ability requires enormous energy. After 8 environments of continuous use, it is exhausting itself. The Shadow Stalker cornered Muffin against a wall that had just appeared. For a moment, it seemed like the competition was over. Then Muffin did something impossible. She jumped straight up, 4 times her own height, kicked off the wall, twisted in midair, and landed on the Shadow Stalker's head. Her claws raked across its sensory organs before it could react. The creature screamed and phased away, disoriented and injured. Muffin dropped to the ground, found cover, and continued hunting. The Shadow Stalker tried to continue, but could not. Its phasing ability failed completely. It collapsed from exhaustion, having used all its energy trying to eliminate the small orange cat that would not die. Eliminated. Muffin was the last predator standing. She did not seem to notice. She was busy chasing a simulated bird around the arena, jumping and twisting with energy she should not have had after 8 hours of continuous environmental stress. Magistrate Yorin stood slowly. "The trial is complete," he announced. "The winner of the 847th Galactic Predator Trial is the human entry, Felis Catus. Weight, 4.5 kilograms. The arena was silent. Then, very quietly, someone started clapping. David realized it was Brenneth, the High Hunter who had mocked them at the beginning. He was clapping with all 4 of his hands. Others joined in the arena below. Muffin finally caught the simulated bird. She looked up at the observation deck, dropped it, and began grooming her paw. David had never been prouder of anything in his life. The award ceremony hall was packed with every species that had participated in the trial, and most of them were staring at Muffin like she might explode. David stood at the podium with the cat on his shoulder. She was sitting perfectly balanced, tail wrapped around herself, watching the crowd with the calm superiority that only cats could achieve. Magistrate Yorn approached with the Apex Predator accreditation, a crystalline medallion that represented full diplomatic standing in the Galactic Assembly. "In 847 trials," Yorin said slowly, "we have never seen a predator like this. The smallest competitor in our history. The highest efficiency ratings we have ever recorded. The first creature to complete all 8 environments of the survival challenge without significant performance decrease." He paused, looking at Muffin. "This creature weighs 4.5 kilograms, and it defeated predators that weighed 200 times more." The crowd murmured. "The official analysis has been completed," Yorin continued. "The Felis catus is classified as an evolutionarily perfect ambush predator. Miniaturized, but with no reduction in lethal capability. Fast-twitch muscles for explosive speed. Retractable claws maintained at optimal sharpness. Instinctive knowledge of prey anatomy. Adaptability across all environmental conditions tested." He held out the medallion. "Humanity is hereby granted full Apex Predator accreditation and all associated diplomatic rights." David accepted the medallion. Before he could speak, Muffin leaned down and sniffed it. Finding it uninteresting, she went back to watching the crowd. "On behalf of humanity," David said, "we accept this recognition. and want to clarify something important. The hall went quiet. This creature is not a weapon. She is not a war animal. She is a companion. Humans have lived alongside cats for over 10,000 years. We did not breed them for combat. We did not modify them for killing. We simply opened our homes and let them in. He gestured at Muffin. Everything you saw in the trial, that is what cats are naturally. And we have billions of them. In our houses, sleeping on our beds, sitting on our keyboards while we try to work. A delegate from an outer system raised a hand. How do you sleep at night? Knowing these creatures are watching you. Cats often sleep on human faces, David said. We find it comforting. Several delegates made sounds of distress. Bryneth stepped forward. His attitude had changed completely since the first day. Human, I must ask you something that has been troubling me. Go ahead. Your cats hunt for pleasure. They kill things they do not intend to eat. They practice killing constantly through play. They have driven dozens of species to extinction on your world. All true, and yet you call them companions. You let them into your homes. You let them near your young. David smiled. Hi, Hunter. On Earth there is a saying. Dogs have owners. Cats have staff. Bryneth looked confused. We don't own cats, David explained. Cats chose to live with us because they found it advantageous. They get food, shelter, and warmth. We get them. Their presence. Their company. But they could kill you. They could. They don't. Most of the time, cats are complicated. Priya stepped up beside David. If I may add something, she said. Cats are one of the few species on Earth that domesticated themselves. They were not tamed. They were not bred into submission. They decided that living with humans was better than living without us. And they moved in. They invaded your homes, a delegate said. Yes, and we thank them for it. The ceremony concluded with photographs and diplomatic handshakes. Muffin tolerated all of it with obvious boredom. Afterward, David returned to the human delegation's quarters. The crew was waiting, and they erupted in cheers when he walked in. Someone had made a small crown out of paper and tried to put it on Muffin's head. She knocked it off immediately and walked away to find something more interesting. She found a cardboard box. David watched her climb into it and curl up, purring. She just won the most important competition in galactic history, Priya said, standing beside him. And she's sitting in a box. She's a cat. The box is warm and small. That's all that matters to her. Later that evening, David received a final message from Magistrate Yoren. Ambassador Webb, the Council has reviewed all data from the trial. We have concluded that humanity's relationship with cats represents something we have not seen before. Other species keep predators as tools or weapons. You keep them as family. Is that a problem? No, it is a lesson. The galaxy assumed that apex predators must be large, terrifying, and aggressive. Your species showed us that the most efficient predator can be small, patient, and precise. You showed us that living alongside death does not require fear. We just really like cats. Perhaps that is the most remarkable thing of all. David ended the communication and looked at Muffin. She had left the box and was now sitting on the windowsill, staring at the stars with the focused intensity of a hunter watching prey. Somewhere out there, 47 species were rethinking everything they knew about predators, and on a small diplomatic station at the edge of known space, a 4-kilogram orange tabby cat yawned, stretched, and fell asleep in a patch of artificial starlight. She had won. She did not care. She was a cat. That was enough.